Oshkosh Media is government programming on GovTV, community programming on Life TV, and community radio on Oshkosh FM 101.9.
Welcome to the City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda.
And thanks for joining us for this edition of the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig, and in a moment we'll be joined by City Manager Mark Roloff. As usual, in the first half of today's show, we'll have some municipal news updates, including information from city departments and things happening in Oshkosh. In the second half, we'll highlight items from the upcoming Tuesday, September 12th Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. And with that, we bring in our City Manager, Mark Roloff. Mark, thanks for being here today.
Great to be here, Andy.
Well, we have quite a few things to talk about today, and I know that we've had a lot of road construction and different projects happening this summer, and one of them, a very large project, recently opened.
It sure did on Wisconsin Street. The work from Bent Avenue to New York Avenue is now complete. A few little things they're still working on in terms of what are called punch list items, some sidewalk issues and stuff. But the street itself looks great, and it's now open to traffic. So, of course, like I said, the landscaping, tree planting, light pole installation, things like that. A few little things that might inconvenience you if you're a pedestrian, but for the vehicular traffic, you're going to see that we're raring to go, and we're so excited about it. I know the neighbors in that neighborhood have been looking forward to this completion for a long time, so I'm happy to report it. I'm always happy to report when we have a street project done, because it checks one off your list, and then people start calling, well, when are you going to do my street? And that's okay, because that means we're one more project closer to getting your street done. Right,
exactly. And I know that folks were anxious for this street to get done, just because it was a little bumpy, and so this is great to have it completed.
Speaking of bumpy,
there's another one. If folks have gone through Menominee Park, they might not realize that the name of the road in Menominee Park is called Pratt Trail. And like you said, they've noticed that it's been a bumpy road, so it's getting reconstructed.
It sure is, and this is one of those that's been long overdue. And people who visit the park often comment to our Parks Department that they needed to get this done, and we arranged to get the funding. But to get it done completely is we need to completely close the road. So access, and that's a wonderful drive that people take all the time. When I'm giving tours of the city, I almost every time take them along Pratt Trail. So I miss it too, but the reconstruction over there, we've got some stormwater infrastructure, some curb and gutter repair. We're not replacing the whole thing. And then, of course, new asphalt pavement along that entire length of Pratt Trail. Starts over at Merritt Avenue, and it goes all the way around to the intersection with Seaward Trail. So, but the pedestrian trails crossing Pratt Trail will be closed during this reconstruction project. We want pedestrians to be safe, so we're doing that. So again, I mentioned the traffic's closed during the reconstruction. It should be completed around mid-November, of course, weather permitting, but we're excited to have this project underway and should get completed this season.
Sure, and there still are accommodations for folks if they'd like to visit the playground or the zoo. There are parking areas still available, and those things are posted. So.
Yeah, it's pretty accessible. You just have to cross the street, just walk a little ways, but you're going to be in good shape.
Okay, very good. All right, then over on the south side of town, we have some street projects going on, and I know that there's I believe it's called a road diet that's happening over there.
That's probably the one that gets the most attention. It's not a ton of work, it's just a little time consuming. And that the road diet involves creating 3 lanes of traffic, one going in both one in north direction and south direction, and then the middle lane, which allows for ease of turns onto streets without backing up traffic or anything like that. So we're excited about that. So we're going to be removing the existing pavement markings and restriping South Main to this road diet, 3 lanes with some bike lanes. We know there have been demands for bike lanes on the south side of town, and this is great because it's right along the tracks, but also along the shores of Lake Winnebago. So it's a very pleasant ride, but we need to make it safe for bicycles that are going up and down South Main Street.
Right, right. And there are some other projects that are happening within the vicinity of this as well.
Sure are. We're doing a mill and overlay of some asphalt on South Park Avenue. Parenthetically, we're also doing the 400 West parking lot in the downtown area. We just added it to it because it was overdue. But we're also doing the 24th Street boat launch and then some concrete reconstruction of Tech Miller Park cul-de-sac. So a few little places throughout town. So these projects are overdue, and so they're kind of late things we kind of put together and get done at one time.
Okay, perfect. Then also just a reminder to folks, if you would like updates on these projects and other ones, there is the opportunity to sign up for road construction updates through the city's website. And you can sign up for those. They'll be emailed to you as the updates happen, and get the info there. There's also a web page available as well that gives you information, kind of an overview of everything going on in the city and traffic restrictions, and you can check that out also on the city's website. We just wanted to make note too, also Mark, that Public Works Director James Robbie recorded an informational video that is a preview of the 2024 proposed capital improvement projects, and that can be accessed through the city's website, Public Works Capital Improvements page. So if folks would like a little insight on what's to come, James has provided that as well.
That's probably the most concise summary of where you're going to find 2024 projects. So you'll see some of your streets, and again, every project done, it means it's one project closer to getting your street done.
Right, you bet. Okay. Also, we wanted to make note that our Oshkosh City Inspections Division has achieved a unique status.
They sure have. Our inspection division, in conjunction with a private contractor, is now amongst the only 2% of all municipalities in Wisconsin that are authorized to complete what are called plan reviews. And now we can do it unlimited size, regardless of how big the commercial project may be. And it's across all of the services that we look at. Plan review for the building, HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and plumbing. And what the real value that this provides is that rather than submitting these plans to the state where the review time averages over 30 days, we can get your plans reviewed and back to you with comments within 5 days, 5 business days. So you bring it in on a Monday, by the following Monday, you're going to get those plans back. We're very proud of that, and because we distinguish ourselves amongst the top 2% of all municipalities in Wisconsin, this really helps our businesses who are on a tight timeline. And with all the challenges we have with building projects these days, with supply chain issues and this and that, getting this part of the project approved and back to you quickly so you can get a building permit, this adds so much value, and I've gotten some great positive comments. And so not everybody in the city is aware of that unless you're doing a building project. Mm-hmm. But I think the public needs to be aware that that's what the type of thing we're doing to improve processes to make someone's experience in getting permits, which can be kind of a stressful process, mm-hmm. to make sure that that process is much quicker and much more efficient.
Okay, it's kind of one of those behind-the-scenes types of things.
Yeah, and it doesn't take away from the safe building construction.
Right.
It's just that we found a more efficient way to do it, and the builders are paying for this, for that benefit. But it really does help expedite plans and keeps projects going quicker. And the old adage, time is money. This absolutely saves money for the contractors and for our businesses that are getting building projects done.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Then also, speaking of behind-the-scenes things that are going on, our city clerk's office is busy all year actually working on elections types of projects. And one of those is that they need to verify that people's addresses are correct. And so they are sending out some information to residents if addresses don't align with the addresses on file with the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Yeah, it's all about getting ready for the 2024 election, because we certainly don't want anybody to be in a situation where there's a question about their ability to vote. So we're doing this being a little proactive and comparing municipal voter records with DOT, Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV records, to make sure that things like addresses and things are the same. So if we notice a discrepancy in anything, you're going to get a letter from our city clerk's office that'll look very similar to this, with our election specialist names there, to let you know that we just want you to please confirm this information for us. So if you do get a letter from the clerk's office concerning some non-matching information, you just need to contact one of our election specialists that are indicated at the letter by phone or email to verify your information. We don't use it, this information is not used for any purpose other than to update a voter's record with correct information. This information is not distributed to other parties. We want to protect your privacy, but we want to make sure that we make it as seamless a process as possible for you to vote when it's time to vote, and we know that our records are up to date.
Absolutely, and all that information is there in that letter. So if you do receive that, it's an easy check with our city clerk's office to make sure that everything is set to go. Okay, over at our Oshkosh Fire Department, they recently put a new fire engine into service, and that's kind of an exciting thing.
It absolutely is. So this is engine 18, and that's at Station 18 at the corner of Bowen and Murdoch. It was produced locally by Pierce Manufacturing. It was ordered way back in 2021.
Okay.
Because of supply chain issues, it's taking as long as 2 years to get these fire trucks. So we were very proactive in working with Pierce to make sure that we ordered the vehicle as soon as possible to get it delivered as soon as possible. So for a lot of people who don't know this, our frontline fire trucks are used 10 years in a frontline capacity and then 5 years as a reserve. So previous engine at Station 18 will now be used as a reserve. So if there's some maintenance on the new engine 18, it'll be able to slide into service. Won't be used as often, so it'll be able to hold up a little longer. But after 10 years out in the field, you'd be surprised at how much engine time is going with these things, because when we roll to a site, the engine's running the whole time, from the time it shows up till the time it leaves. So, and they're also our backup for ambulance. So, they're out there on ambulance calls if they can possibly do that. So there's some great enhanced features that are going to help keep our firefighters and our community safer as a result of this. This is state of the art, and we are one of the few rated number 1 by the Insurance Service Institute that rates fire departments, and keeping our equipment up to date is one of those factors that keeps your fire insurance rates low, actually. So it's a benefit. What's in it for me with this type of investment? What's in it for you as a resident is your fire insurance rates are lower because of this. So we're happy to do that, and it'll keep our firefighters safer, and it's just a great way to deliver quality fire service to our community.
And it's all about keeping our firefighters and our community safe.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, speaking of trucks and fire engines, there's an event coming up called Touch a Truck that is Saturday, September 23rd. And this is kind of a neat event for families.
For families, this is just an incredibly fun event. And it's free thanks to the support of Oshkosh Corporation. There's so many different types of trucks that are there. And the kids can come in and discover all kinds of trucks and heavy equipment. They can visit the dump truck sandbox and all those types of things. These are trucks from equipment from companies in the Oshkosh area with the interactive play areas, ride-on. There's a remote-controlled racetrack, bounce houses, games, and then food trucks if you want to stick around and eat. So just one little thing for the public. If you're interested in helping, volunteers are still needed for this event. And if you're interested in helping out, and believe me, you'll have a lot of fun being the volunteer here, because you get to see some really cool things. And maybe you get to touch a truck yourself.
Maybe.
And if you want to, give Kathy Snell a call over at 920-232-5304, and Kathy will line you up with a great volunteer opportunity to help at Touch a Truck.
Okay, excellent. And I know Kathy actually works with a lot of our events that are going on in the community as well. And the Parks Department actually they've had a lot going on this summer, but it's not done yet. They actually have some more things coming up.
Yeah, and for those of you who have enjoyed the Brews by the Bay event, because of Pratt Trail being closed, we've moved the last Brews on the Bay over to the Leach Amphitheater for September 20th. Local breweries serving craft beers. The band D. Willie and the Souvenirs will be performing on September 20th. And in addition to the music, local food trucks again, some family-friendly activities that'll be scattered throughout the Leach. And for additional information, just visit the Parks Department Facebook page and you can get even more details.
Right. And the Parks Department also wanted to note that the Menominee Park Zoo also is still open. They are open through September 24th, but just that their hours are being reduced a little bit.
Yeah, starting September 11th, the zoo hours are going to be going from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's just staffing issues because a lot of the kids who help us out in the summer are back at school. So we're just managing with limited staff, but we can manage 10 to 4. So if you want to go visit the zoo up until we close on September 24th, just be aware that for the last 2 weeks, it'll be just a smaller range of hours.
Right. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. beginning September 11th. Okay. And then, Mark, we also wanted to note that Go Transit has had a survey open, and it's still open yet, and this is part of their update to their 5-year transit development plan.
Yep, we're updating the transit plan for the years 2024 to 28. So we consider what bus route changes should be in play. So we're actually asking people to complete a survey with questions like, what destinations are most important to transit drivers, and are there new places that Go Transit needs to serve? And then we take a look at what we can do within the confines of our schedules and use this input to perhaps consider these types of changes to our system.
Okay, and if folks would like to take that survey, there's a hot topic on the city's website that they can click on right from the front page, or they can subscribe to the city's Polco platform and access it that way. So different ways to get to it, but it is available there for residents to take. Okay, Mark, I believe that it's time for us to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some highlights from the upcoming Common Council meeting agenda. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the City Manager's Report. I'm Andy Radig along with City Manager Mark Roloff. Let's turn our attention to the agenda items from the upcoming Tuesday, September 12th, Oshkosh Common Council meeting. And Mark, we have several different items that we're looking at today. One of those, folks might have seen around Oshkosh these at pedestrian crossings. There are these flashing beacon type lights that if somebody's trying to cross the street, you'll see these yellow flashers, and we have a couple items relating to those types of devices. Yeah,
a couple of them. They're called rectangular rapidly flashing beacons, RRFBs for short. And we've got a couple locations in town, and you can see that they're very effective when they draw attention for traffic, because traffic doesn't always see the pedestrian themselves, so it's important to draw attention for drivers to do this. And so there's a couple locations. The first one, Lourdes Academy actually asked for this, and because it's on a side street, it's not really for the general public. It's more so for the Lourdes students, but they wanted Jocelyn Street to have one of these, and they actually put the funds together with some donations that they received from benefactors at Lourdes to do the crosswalk on Jocelyn Street, just just north of Witzel. And then speaking of Witzel, along Witzel Avenue near Westbrook Drive, this is where you really see the value of one of these RRFB beacons, because Witzel at that location is 4 lanes wide, very wide, and oftentimes people don't see around other vehicles that may be holding back to let somebody cross, and the other driver doesn't see it themselves. And honestly, out there on Witzel and Westbrook, we've had an accident or two where involving pedestrians. We don't want that to happen again. So what we're doing is we're putting these beacons out there, and they will give advance notice to the drivers so they'll see them. And that's so important, especially in these areas where the right-of-way, the road itself is a lot wider. So we're happy to do these to improve pedestrian safety. People want to walk to the store, a restaurant, or as we saw in the video, somebody wants to go on a run after work or something. We want to make sure they can do it safely. So this is how we're doing it.
Okay, very good. Then we also have an item. We're taking a look at the Riverwalk over by kind of where the Pioneer Inn used to be, Pioneer Island over there. And this is for, I believe, the design phase of the extension of the Riverwalk.
This is the next phase of the Riverwalk. A lot of people will remember that just east of South Main Street, we completed a project recently that that goes along the shoreline. We've now closed the east-west part of Pioneer Drive here for the Sawdust District development that's going on. But once you cross the tracks over here, the trail comes to an end. So we want to get to the next phase of this. And the idea behind this next phase is it will take us from just past the railroad tracks south along Pioneer Drive to what was at the time the main entrance to Pioneer Island. And people may not know that, but just recently the owners of Pioneer Island opened the tiki bar that used to exist on at the Pioneer Inn itself, and so they want people to be able to access that. So this will be the next phase of this project in the public right-of-way. So it's something that we want to plan for, and so we want to get the design going, and so we can get the project completed as soon as possible.
Sure. Well, that's exciting. It's good to see those projects continue to move along.
Yeah, we're hoping to get a grant or something like that, so that the project can get funded, and having the design done improves our chances of possibly qualifying for grant funds. It's in our CIP. It's not funded yet. We'll wait and see what type of grants we might be able to snare with this. Okay,
very good. We'll keep an eye on that one. All right, then we also have another project that we're looking at here. The city has done a lot with regards to stormwater issues and trying to alleviate future problems. And we're looking at the creation of another detention basin on the far west side of the city.
Yes, this is actually in an area that we purchased some land a few years ago, and we've identified this location in Sawyer Creek, which is by far our largest watershed. And part of the idea is to hold water back at the very upper parts of the creek so that during a storm event, the lower parts of the creek can drain as rapidly as possible and then hold all the water that comes in from the rural areas. And we're talking thousands of acres that need to get drained. So this pond will hold it back a little bit, and we're calling it Rural 2 because we already have Rural 1, and a lot of people may not realize, well, what's Rural 1? Well, we've been showing it over the years, so we're just reminding everybody that we have a pond out there already, a detention basin that we're using, and it holds a good amount of water back, but because we have so much, we need a Rural 2. So this is Rural 1. This is about where James Road and Highway 91 intersect, and this is barely in the city. We actually added this to the city when we did this project, but it's normally dry. But when a storm event occurs, this fills up rapidly, and then it holds water back for about 24 hours before it eventually drains out. So this is the project that we're talking about, and we're excited that Rural 2 will look very similar to this and provide some much needed stormwater detention.
Okay, very good. Then we also have an item, it seems like maybe this one came up sort of fast. This is for concrete paving over at South Keller Street.
This came up very fast because we were doing some inspections as a result of some complaints that we'd received from some drivers out in Keller between South Park and 20th. And those little, those dark pavement patches are really signs of some very severe deterioration of the concrete in this area. And below it, the concrete, beneath the concrete itself has failed and there are openings. So it's totally disintegrated. We need to do this. We've actually moved savings from other projects that we had in recent years to get this done. But this is, you're going to see some construction going on in the coming weeks. This is nearly $1 million, but this is one of those when it happens, we just can't sit there and wait. This is a serious hazard if we don't take care of it sooner. So this will be done, and we're happy that we're able to find savings in other projects to get this done.
Okay, perfect. All right, then also we have some things over at the Oshkosh Public Museum, and they have an event coming up called Dia de los Muertos, and they are actually accepting, it looks like they have a grant that they're accepting for this event.
Yeah, they've the first event held last year was so well received that they applied for a grant that is of $2,000 to help with the event, and we're successful in getting this grant. And then additionally, we also have some sponsorship of $2,500.
Okay.
So the council will be basically accepting the grant to put it into the budget. But we figured this is a great opportunity to do some plugging for this and save the date, October 28th, Dia de los Muertos, at the Public Museum. Again, it was very well received, and so we're going to continue this event and celebrate our Latin culture that is alive and well in Oshkosh, and we're very proud of.
Absolutely. Saturday, October 28th, noon to 4. Put that on your calendars. Okay. Then we also have, we're taking a look toward the end of the agenda, Mark, and we are looking at a contract with, let's see, it's regarding the sustainability plan implementation.
Yes, we have some faculty from UW Oshkosh that has been working with the Sustainability Advisory Board, and the council, fortunately, had set aside some funds to assist in implementing items in our sustainability plan, and they're going to work with the Sustainability Board to identify what projects are, maybe they're the low-hanging fruit that can get done. The Sustainability Board doesn't have any spending authority. They only have advisory authority. So they recommended to me that we hire this faculty group from UW Oshkosh to assist in it. And I thought what they were proposing seemed very reasonable and of good value. So we're going ahead with this, and we're excited about partnering with UW Oshkosh to begin implementation of some of these issues.
Okay, very good. And then there's also a note about the Northeast Wisconsin Dragon Boat Festival that's coming up on September 16th.
This was an initiative from our our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee to have a festival to celebrate various cultures in the Oshkosh area. And so the Dragon Boat Festival is an idea they were approached with, and this is going to take place on September 16th. I think they're still looking for some people who might be interested in rowing the boat, so you might want to try their website. We're, the city, are a sponsor of it. We're happy to be one of those sponsors, but if you're interested in maybe being on a dragon boat, I'd look up the website. If you're interested in just looking at it, I'd come down to the event. There's going to be some wonderful booths, celebrating a lot of vendors celebrating different cultural diversity opportunities in the community. So we're excited about this and looking forward to a very successful event.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, I think that's about all the time that we have today, and we really appreciate your insights and information.
Always a pleasure, Andy.
All right, thank you. And thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate you tuning in. Again, that Oshkosh Common Council meeting is at 6 p.m. this Tuesday, September 12th at City Hall, which is at 215 Church Avenue. You can watch that live on GovTV, which is Spectrum Channel 10, UVerse Channel 99, and streaming on YouTube and OshkoshMedia.org. Or you can listen on the radio, Oshkosh FM 101.9, which is online and on the TuneIn Radio app for phones and tablets. You can always use your favorite streaming device, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV. Just search for the Oshkosh Media app. And you can always check our YouTube channel for government meeting archives. So please join us again in 2 weeks for another City Managers Report. Thanks for watching.